Hey you! What up? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Maryam. In today's video, I am doing something very different for my YouTube channel. I am introducing a brand new series called Makeup for Real Life. So with this series, I'm hoping to bring you old school makeup tutorials, that good old school feel and charm, but with present day products, with innovations, with techniques, also using my staple products and some new products. So basically, I want this to be a video that I present to you once a month or twice a month. I want to focus on makeup looks that will help you look your best in real life, not in this studio camera lights action situation, but actually in natural light, in direct sunlight. I want your skin to look the best. I want you to feel the best. I'm getting a little flustered because I'm a little nervous about this one, but I'm also very, very excited. So for this first episode, it's gonna be summer 2021 makeup. What is happening nowadays? We have the 4th of July coming up. We have barbecues. We have family gatherings. Masks are off. We are feeling good and we want to look good. Let's get this party started. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see all of my Wednesdays and Sundays videos. And now let's get into this video. Makeup for Real Life, summer 2021. Here we come. Okay, I need to calm down because I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. And like, I never wear this many rings, and now I'm like clinging my rings together. It's bringing me a little bit of a soothing feeling. Anyway, so what events do we have this summer? We have brunches, we have pool parties, we have Hot Girl Summer is right here. It's not even around the corner anymore, it's here. For me, for someone who has oily AF skin, who lives in a very humid climate in New York, it's particularly humid here in the summertime, I need to focus on coverage. I need to focus on making my skin look and feel good, but not look too heavy or too makeup-y, while also being protected from the harmful, damaging sun rays. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is, of course, apply my SPF. I like to use this MURAD Environmental Shield City Skin Age Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 50. Yeah, 50, because if I'm gonna be going to a 4th of July celebration barbecue, and if I'm gonna be out all day, I'm gonna need that protection from the sun. I want my makeup to last. I also feel that SPF sometimes aids with your makeup lasting all day. Basically, I like to apply my SPFs the same way that I apply a primer. I like to almost use it as a primer. Evenly spread across my skin surface, not forgetting those ears. Not forgetting that hairline. Also, if I have a side part or a center part, I always like to dab a little SPF onto my part because they tend to burn in the sun and we don't want that. So most SPFs tend to have this like very balmy, almost greasy sort of finish. So what I like to do next is actually do something outside of my skin. So say my brows, for example, just to let the SPF tone itself down a bit. So for my brows, I'm gonna be using my absolute favorite Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter Brow Gel. This one is super strong, it's like glue. And if I want my brows to stay in place all day, this is literally what I use. So first, I just brush out my brows using a little bit of gel, and then I kind of allow a few seconds for it to just sit there. I'm noticing that the brow trends lately are leaning more towards the flatter, the straighter brow. And I definitely do not have straight brows naturally, but I really like the trend. And so instead of laminating and boy browing my brows, I want to go for the straighter brow trend today. But of course, I'm gonna make it my own so that it works for my very arched brows. So once the brows are saturated with product, I'm just gonna take the tail ends and kind of glue them to my skin. I need to do this because my brows are very unruly. And also, I want them to last all day, so this is the technique that I use. Sometimes I like to just use a flat edge from a brow tweezer and just press it down like that. So for me, that's about as close to a straight brow as I can get, but it still feels a little bit more groomed to me. So essentially what I want to do with these videos is show you the kind of makeup that I would wear on a daily basis for any given real life event, circumstance, or situation. Bear with me as I'm still kind of trying to get the hang of this concept and present it to you, but my goal here is to help you expand your makeup knowledge, help you expand your skill set. I also want you to comment below and let me know what are your favorite go-to products, techniques, what are some of the things you want me to try for different skin types. I want these videos to be interactive and I wanted to give us a sense of community. I hope that makes sense. All right, so now that my brows are fully glued down at the ends, I'm actually gonna move on to filling them in. Of course, I'm gonna use my NYX Lift and Snatch brow pen that I always go for. It's my absolute favorite one at the moment. I'm gonna use the shade Espresso, which is slightly lighter than my usual black because I want this to look a little bit more natural and not so harsh. So here I'm just filling in and drawing tiny little hair strokes within my brow. Also extending the brow just a bit, but it looks very, very natural. You almost can't tell that I'm drawing these micro fine hair strokes. That's what I love about this brow pen so much. I also feel like with this product, it's kind of hard to overdo your brows. They always wind up looking their best, most natural self, which is why I keep reaching for this one. I keep recommending it in all of my videos. So you can say that these first two products are definitely my staples. These are my ride or dies. These are my absolute favorite brow products at the moment, along with the NYX brow glue. I love that one as well, but it kind of gives me a different technique, more of like a boy brow. Moving right along to the skin. So now that the SPF has gotten a chance to kind of settle, I'm gonna take just a paper towel and I'm gonna kind of pat it in the center where I produce the most oil and where I have enlarged pores. And also right here in between my brows, top of my brows, and just the center of the forehead. Kind of just want to tone down that sheen. This is like literally what I do in real life, so I'm showing you my real life techniques. You already know my ride or die Essence My Skin Perfector Tinted Primer. For today's look, since I'm pretending like I'm going to say a barbecue or a pool party or a 4th of July celebration, I'm gonna use just a little bit because I definitely want my skin finish to be natural. I don't want to look like I'm wearing makeup, but I want it to obviously look better than what it looks like without makeup. So I'm only applying this to the area where I really need help, which is those sweaty porous zones. Then I'm gonna take this Wayne Goss brush and I'm gonna smooth down my pores. Also gonna use that on the side of my nose because this is where the makeup always tends to break up on me. A bit around my mouth and kind of just feather that into the cheeks. One technique that I actually learned from Wayne Goss is to use a brush like this and actually buff in your primer or your foundation using clockwise and counterclockwise motions. This will help close up the pores. And now that I've done that, my skin already looks so much smoother, so much more ready to go. And it's also sun protected. Next, let's talk about coverage. Being that we are in summer 2021, where I'm at, it's particularly humid, it's particularly hot, and makeup generally does not last. Specifically, I'm talking about full coverage foundations, those balmy type of finishes, all the dewy stuff that we love, it doesn't last. So the answer to that, in my opinion, is less is more. I feel that less coverage, especially for daytime makeup, is definitely better, more natural looking, and it will last you into the night hours as well. I have a few options to show you today, but of course I'm gonna be using just one of them. If you still want that dewy feeling, that very natural skin finish, I would recommend either the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop Foundation, skin tint actually, but I call it a foundation because this has a little bit more coverage than a true skin tint. It's kind of like a hybrid, like a skin tint slash foundation hybrid. Or you can go for the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. This one also has SPF 30. I really like this one. It's very natural looking. It has a beautiful radiant sort of finish. And my favorite one of the bunch is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream. I've been talking about this one a lot. It does everything. It's a 3-in-1. You probably don't really even need a primer underneath. It also has SPF 30 and it just blends into your skin, makes it look like you're wearing nothing at all, but it somehow perfects. If you are oily AF like me and you're not looking for a dewy finish per se, I would recommend the Bobbi Brown Skin Long Wear Liquid to Powder Foundation. This one is my absolute favorite foundation for oily skin. It's the most long-lasting one that I've ever tried in my life. I like it a lot. I would go for this, but it's absolutely not dewy. This will give you a very matte finish. Still looks natural, but very, very matte. I'm going for the dew, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going for the dew, so this is what I'm gonna do. The shade that I wear is Ginger 06, which is kind of a tricky shade. At first, when I apply it, it doesn't look like it matches, but then somehow it oxidizes or mixes in with the atmosphere and it matches. And I've been talking to a lot of you guys who have a similar skin tone to me, and you've all said the same thing. Like, this is one of those weird shades that doesn't look like it's gonna work, but then it somehow works. It Cosmetics. It's called like Love is the Answer brush. Love is the foundation brush. And what I like to do with this product is basically concentrate it on my problem areas. So for me, that's my cheeks, it's my jawline where I have a lot of acne scars and just dark spots, and also that area where I did not apply that tinted primer. So essentially, I'm smoothing down the pores with the primer, and then I'm adding coverage with the tinted gel cream. And now, as you can see, I have not covered up my freckles, but I covered up all the dark spots and I covered up all the problem areas. So here is the face base. Next for concealer, Fenty Bright Fix is the one. I actually don't even remember what was my favorite go-to concealer before the Bright Fix. I believe it was Tarte Shape Tape, but that one's just a lot more full coverage and it feels very, very glam. So I never had this easygoing, everyday type of concealer until I found this. And this, let me tell you, it's just such a miracle worker, such a lifesaver. The best way to apply this one, in my opinion, is with your fingertips. The shade that I'm currently using is shade 06 Butter, but I want to say it's my winter shade. So although it's working here for a little bit of brightening and just a little bit of bringing everything together, it wouldn't necessarily work if I had any sort of tan. And did I say butter? I meant melon, 06. Also, I like that this product is buildable. So if you find that one drop is a little too natural looking, you can always allow this product to dry and then add one more drop on top. So it's buildable, it's truly buildable. Also like to brighten a little bit around the nose, but I use whatever's remaining on my fingers to do that because I don't want it to actually cover. I literally just want to brighten with that. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my under eye with my One Size translucent setting powder. This one I think is probably my favorite for setting the under eye. I keep on reaching for it because it truly does not shift or does not change the color of the concealer. Also, it's so very smoothing and perfecting. I said this in one of my previous videos, but it's true. Patrick created this for himself and he is a man who grows facial hair. So it takes a different type of smoothing powder than say what you would just use for smoothing out some bumps or some texture when you actually grow facial hair. So just keep that in mind. This is why it's that good, because it has that extra smoothing power. And also this powder is so incredibly lightweight that you honestly barely feel it on your skin. All right, so I just apply that to this little triangle here and I'm just gonna leave that alone. I'm actually trying to remind myself that I wanna use dewy, creamy products and I do not want to powder beforehand. I always forget whenever I film these videos, and I never really actually do this in real life, but whenever I'm filming my YouTube videos, I just want to set my foundation immediately because the lights are so hot that they actually melt my makeup even faster than if I were to do this for a real life situation. But not today. Today I'm gonna actually go in a real life order. For my blush today, because I really want to go for a very summery, very bronzy, corally, rosy, golden type of look, I'm gonna go for this PIXI On the Glow blush. I've been liking this one a lot. So cute. It looks like deodorant. Fun fact, I don't wear deodorant. I'm missing that gene that makes you stink under your pits. So that's great for me. But this blush is viral on TikTok and it's viral for a reason. It is really, really fresh and it's very, very dewy. So the shade that I'm using here is called Juicy. Very appropriate name. Basically, I apply it to my cheekbones, kind of like to the center, and then I blend it out. And for blending, I like to use this Morphe M5112 brush. This is a technique that I like to do. I just smile and I kind of blend out the edges first to lift it up and distribute it evenly. I also find that blush helps to disguise discoloration, dark spots, and a dewy pretty one just looks so damn natural. I'm also gonna add whatever's remaining on the center of my nose for that sun-kissed vibe, like that, and boom. Then I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna stipple on top just to make it look a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more natural, like that. For my powder today, I'm gonna use the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil that I just discovered. I'm gonna use the shade Sheer Medium and just a big fluffy brush. This one's from IT Cosmetics. I'm gonna start out by powdering lightly along the jawline and along those problem areas. And then I'm going to kind of gently come up and hit the rest of the face. But you see how I still have that dew on the tops of my cheekbones from that blush? I kind of want that to remain. I want that to shine through. So I'm just carefully placing the powder to the areas that I don't want to be dewy. I'm also using a very gentle touch. This isn't a heavy powder, but this is definitely a veil that will assist in helping your foundation last longer, or in this case, our skin tint. But because it's such a light coverage, all of this should work. At least it does for me. Now this is totally extra and like you don't have to do this, but it's something that I like to do from time to time. I like to use these ERBORIAN BB crayons to kind of go over some of my more problematic zones. Like for example, a spot here that I may just want to tone down a bit, or like this area that I may want to lift a little, or like around the nose where I want to brighten, or like in case I want to highlight the tip of my nose, but in a very natural way. I like to do this on top because this pencil almost has a powdery finish. It dries down pretty matte, and so I don't feel like I need to do this underneath. I literally just want to apply it to the areas that need it and not all over. I don't want to overdo it. So I like to use two shades, the shade Nude, which is a little light for me, and then also the shade Doré, which is more like a skin matching, and I just like to pat it down with my finger. Kind of like that. And then I'm gonna take that same big old fluffy brush, but no powder, and just pat that down. That's it. Essentially, this is the skin base. I will show you what it looks like in studio light, but wait for it. At the end of the video, I will show you what everything looks like in natural direct sunlight. All right, here we go. Basically, my skin, but better. You can still see all of my freckles. You could still see my skin texture, but it's definitely perfected. It's definitely looking a little bit more presentable than before. Plus, it has some good coverage from the sun, so I am feeling well protected and also put together. So now, if you're a minimalist, you could probably just like curl your lashes, add some mascara, add some lip gloss, and you're good to go. But I want to show you what I like to do for the eyes for those days where I want to look a little bit more special. So I got these Laura Mercier Rose Collection eye crayons that a lot of you guys wanted to see reviewed. So today is the day. I'm gonna reach for a bronzy shade and also like pinkier, lighter shade. So Bed of Roses, the pinkier, lighter shade, and Forbidden Rose, which is the more bronzy, coppery shade. I'm gonna start out with the darker shade and basically apply that to the outer portion of my eye, kind of lifting it in a wing and applying to the center of the lid, like that. Now, if you notice, I didn't even apply primer because these eye pencils are so good. They're so smudge resistant. They have this almost like a built-in primer thing about them that I love so much. They're so easy to work with. They also give you some playing time, some room for you to blend it out before it fully sets. So that's also really nice. Just using this no name, actually it's from Motives, their precision crease brush, which is actually pretty soft, to blend that out. I just want this to be kind of like a lifted, almost cat eye shadow. So now I know I'm talking through this tutorial, but essentially this is something that wouldn't take me longer than 20 minutes to apply to my face because it is very, very easy and no fuss. Could just darken that corner a pinch more, just to give my eye a pinch more interest. Now this, in studio lights, almost looks a bit dramatic, but I promise you, these shimmery shadows look totally different in daylight. They have so many unique light reflecting properties in them. Basically, the sun kind of washes the color out and all you're left with is the reflects, which is why I'm kind of going in almost heavy-like for the daytime, but really it isn't very heavy at all. Next, I'm gonna pick up Bed of Roses, and this one is a lot sparklier, also a lot pinkier. And I'm just gonna add that to the inner portion of the lid, kind of just overlapping the colors a little bit, adding just a little bit of that pinkiness, that flirtiness, that girliness. And it still looks bronzy because the outer edge is so bronzy, but it's just a little bit fresher now, and it also has a bit more of a dimensional look. Again, just blending that out very, very easily, not trying too hard, not even working with one eye at a time. Yeah, that is very, very cute. And I really wanted to also utilize present day techniques, like things that are currently trending on TikTok, like the foxy eye and like the inner corner liner and just like that lifted sort of eye look. I really like that look. I feel like it works very well for almond shaped Asian eyes like mine. That's kind of the technique that I've been reaching for a lot. All right, so now that that's done, I'm gonna show you an additional technique that you can do or not do, just depending on your preference. I'm gonna use this Makeup by Mario Master Pigment Pro pencil in the Perfect Brown. So it's basically a pencil on one side that I definitely need to sharpen and a brush on the other side. Go ahead and sharpen that. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is kind of look straight into the mirror and then darken this outer portion of the lash line. And essentially what I'm doing here is I'm lifting the eye shape. So I'm not really pulling it out so much, rather I'm just adding this darker line a little bit higher, which will visually make my eye look as if it's a little bit more lifted. Now the trick here is to really look straight into the mirror and not down, because then you can kind of mess up that curve. All right, there we go. Then I'm gonna take the opposite end with the brush and kind of blend that out and just make it feel one with the eyeshadow. Kind of like that. So essentially I'm just pulling that out, giving myself almost like that air wing. It's not a literal wing, but it's like the feel of a wing. I'm gonna go back to my ERBORIAN BB crayon. Yup. And I am going to clean up that area underneath that wing, just like that. Just add it kind of heavily, and then I'm gonna use this brush, like a concealer brush, and just buff that out. So essentially, I'm cleaning up the area and I'm just continuing to lift that eye shape up. Now, I think if this were to be done with, say, Tarte Shape Tape or a thicker consistency concealer, it wouldn't feel as effortless and as everyday as what I'm trying to show you here, which is why you really need something that looks and feels like skin, that isn't too pigmented, kind of like that. And then I'm gonna show you one more final trick for the eyes that I really like to do. Go back to the same Mario liner. I'm gonna do the inner corner jammy, but I wanna show you this like weird technique that I learned on TikTok, but it actually works, so it's not really that weird. I'm gonna pinch my nose here in the center. It makes my eyes kind of look like Kendall Jenner's. And then I'm just gonna darken this inner corner, not really worrying too much about going too far. Literally just darken it like that, and then do the same thing on the other eye, just kind of following that natural groove, right? And snap it back, and boom, you've got yourself an inner corner liner without much effort, really. Now this may be like a little too much for some of you, which is why I used a pencil. If it's too much, you can always just go back with a clean pencil brush, like what I'm about to do here, and just buff it out. But essentially that's it. And of course, I have some cat hair. I find that I did just a pinch too much here. Just gonna add a bit of that crayon, also on the side to make them match, and then just buff that out with my finger. Anything that you do with makeup, any mistake that you make is so easily fixable. I don't want you to be afraid or be too intimidated to try new tricks and techniques. I really do want you guys to have fun with makeup, like the way that I do. Makeup is something that I reach for when I'm having a bad day and I want to make myself feel better. That is like the bottom line. Next thing I'm gonna do is curl my lashes with my absolute favorite Laura Mercier Lash Curler that I recommend for flatter eyes because it has a much wider opening than other lash curlers. You could really curl your shorter, straighter lashes if that's what you have. Also, this lash curler is the only one that I can use to curl my bottom lashes. For my mascara, I'm gonna go for Essence Lash Princess Waterproof. Waterproof because duh, you want your mascara to last all day and all night, and also too because I can really only wear waterproof formulas, and then like certain formulations that for some reason also work that are non-waterproof. But yeah, I'm very picky with my mascaras, and this one is a staple. It's a long time fave of mine. And also I think it's like $4 or something. So now I've talked about this technique in my maximizing your straight lashes video, and I'll mention it again. Basically, whenever I curl my lashes, I never really like to apply my mascara to the part that I curled, because that I feel weighs down the curl and makes your lashes flat again. So I just avoid that altogether. Certain formulations, of course, are much easier than others, but when I go for a dramatic, voluminous, natural lash like the way that I'm going for right now, I like to avoid that even with a light formula like this one. I'm gonna probably let that set and then add another coat, but first I'm gonna add a little bit to my lower lashes, and now just a pinch more on the top here. I'm really loving the way that my lashes and my eyes are looking. It's kind of fire. Okay, next, I'm gonna go for this Makeup by Mario Light Medium Soft Sculpt Bronzer. I'm gonna use this CARLI BYBEL X MAKIAGE brush and just warm up my complexion while also kind of sculpting it a little bit. I want to be very light-handed here, which is why I'm using this Makeup by Mario bronzer, because it's one of those barely there kind of bronzers, but it's also very buildable. So essentially it's mistake proof. That's what I like about it. And that's it. Now I did just notice I have a little spot here that I need to conceal. So there we go. What I also like to do with my Benefit 24-hour brow setter is kind of get rid of all these flyaways on top of my head and set my hair in place, like behind my ear, almost using this as a gel. But this brow gel is so strong that it even works on like super unruly hair on the top of your head. Okay, looks good. All right, so what I'm gonna do next, and you absolutely don't have to do this, but you can if you want. I'm gonna take my bronzer, the one that I just used, and kinda add that to your eyeshadow, just for a little extra definition and so that the whole look is not shimmery. I just like to add it in that little groove right here because my lids are hooded and I just want it to look more like a shadow rather than a shimmer. For the highlighter, I'm going to use this new Laura Mercier Rose Glow highlighter that I'm absolutely obsessed with. I just tried it for the first time in my previous video and I was mesmerized. I was so into it. I'm going to add that right here underneath that air wing that I created and kind of just into the temple, also along the brow bone, right here on the forehead, right above the brow arch. Pinch down the nose bridge. I just find this to be such a natural, beautiful highlighter. I can't see myself not reaching for it this summer. It's got that perfect, beautiful, rosy glow, so it goes really well with today's look. My bronzy, rosy, corally vibe. I'm also gonna grab a little bit on a small brush and just add that to the inner corner for a bit of a pop, and then also to the center of the lid for just a bit more definition. Very easy, but dressed up, upscale. So for the lips, I like to go kind of simple. I've really been loving this Il Makiage X CARLI BYBEL lip liner. This one is in the shade AI. Also needs to be sharpened because I use it so damn much. So now I already have this dark outline around my lips, which you're probably wondering the entire video what the hell that is. And you're probably only wondering if you haven't seen my Best Beauty Hacks video from about 6 to 8 months ago. And basically this is my self-tanner hack that I like to do from time to time, but not all the time. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is basically line my lips with this pencil. And now I'm only going to overline the top portion, but not overline the sides or the corners. Although I do kind of like to overline this corner just because I have this freckle that's a little bit off the side of my mouth and I like to just connect to it. Otherwise it looks a little dirty, it looks like I made a mistake. But I find that outlining only the top still gives you that pout, but it's not too crazy, you know? All right, so that's essentially the base for the lips. For the lip color, you really can go in any direction. You can go for a lip tint, something like the Charlotte Tilbury Tinted Love lip tint, or like the Jaclyn Cosmetics lip tint. And I sometimes like to go that route, especially if I'm going to a place where I'm gonna be eating and drinking a lot, especially if it's a barbecue that I'm going to with lots of greasy foods. This is usually like the safest bet. I know that it's gonna stay put. I'm still gonna have my lip liner, but it's gonna give me some color. However, if you want to go a different route, you could definitely do a pop of color, perhaps this Mandarin O Powder Kiss lipstick from MAC that I am absolutely obsessed with. These lipsticks, this formulation is incredible. It just looks so beautiful on the lips. It's very K-beauty-like. I feel that it's probably one of MAC's like best lipstick formulas out there to date. I love it. Or if you're feeling fancy, of course, you can go for like a nourishing lip oil with a bit of color, something like this from House Labs, or like a super glossy, shimmery lip like this NYMA Tang X Dose of Colors. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of both. I'm gonna give myself a pinch of a tint with this Tinted Love by Charlotte T. Santa Euphoria is the name. It's kind of like a nudie tint. Goes on very, very sheer, but it definitely gives a hint of color and it just brings everything together, I find. All right, so now you could just stop right there. But if you're a gloss girl or boy, you can go for the most. I'm gonna go for the most. I'm gonna use this NYMA Tang Sequins lip gloss. Cat hair, I feel you, but I don't see you. Now that the lip tint has had a chance to kind of set, I'm just gonna add this gloss on top, just the center of the bottom lip, and of course, wherever else it goes from there. I like this one because it's very golden. The sparkles in this are bronzy, they're gold, they're pink, and so it just feels very summery, but it's light enough that if you eat it off, your mouth will still look pretty and put together. So that is my look. I am feeling very well put together. I'm ready to get up and take my ass to Target. That's what I have planned for today. But if I had a barbecue or a pool party, if I had a brunch with my girlfriends or a family gathering for the 4th of July, this is likely what I would be wearing, especially if I plan on being outside all day, if I plan on being in direct sunlight with all of my textures and imperfections and basically with my face exposed. This is kind of what I like to do to make myself feel the most comfortable in my own skin, and I guarantee you this is what will make your skin look the best in direct natural light. If you don't believe me, let me show you. All right, you guys, so this is the final look. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of my Makeup for Real Life series. Let me know what real life event or circumstance or situation you'd like me to create a makeup look for the next episode. I am thinking I want to do something a little bit more glam, perhaps summer nights. That's what I'm thinking, but of course, you let me know. Definitely sound off below. Tell me, what are your favorite products right now? What are your favorite techniques? What are your staple techniques that you've been utilizing for a long time, and what are some of the trending techniques that you have made your own? With that said, you guys, I'm very, very happy to have filmed this. It just made me feel really good. I wanted to share this with you because I feel like it's almost a little personal, you know? Now, I'm ready to wrap up this very long video, so I'm going to zoom on out so that you can check out my next couple of videos right here. A video that you may like, and also my most recent video. Click it.